Good to see you.
Coach, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, we're back for our final edition of the Coach's Corner here, and we'll look back at last week's game against Delphi in the Under-10 tournament, put a nice neat ribbon around the season that was, and look ahead a little bit towards next year.
Sure.
Coach, let's start off with the Delphi game. They eventually go on to win the Under-10 tournament title. Yesterday, you were right with them for 90 minutes, ultimately a 1-0 loss. But just assess the performance against Delphi in the Under-10 tournament.
Delphi is the best team in the Northeast 10 Conference this year. They have the most talent, well coached. They did a great job this year. That being said, we went into the game and I feel like we were organized, had a good game plan. The players executed the game plan, and we were able to make the match competitive. Delphi deserved the win, but at the same time, we feel like we were able to make it competitive enough where we could have extended the game. It could have gone to overtime. It could have gone to penalties. Full credit to Delphi, but I think our girls did a good job.
Earlier in the week, the all-conference teams were announced by the Northeast 10. 3 of your players were recognized: Caroline Stautel, Vicky Condi, and Marissa Pearson. Can you just comment on your take on their play here during the 2015 season?
Through the recruiting process and getting to know the girls over a long period of time, I'm just happy for them. I'm proud of them. It takes a lot of work to achieve what they've achieved at this level, and it's been a process. Caroline had a pretty serious injury at the end of her freshman year, so she didn't have a winter and spring season going into last year. So this year was the first year where she was able to train and participate in the winter and spring season, and it paid off. She was more fit, and I think she got better and better as the season went on. Marissa Pearson, she was a transfer student. She came in, she did extremely well, and she really did a good job of solidifying the back four for us this year. It's not just in terms of her ability, but also in terms of her level of leadership. And Vicky Condi, she from Spain. It's a completely different style of play. Here specifically in the Northeast 10 Conference. So coming from Spain, it was an adjustment period for her in her freshman year. But we knew that she had the ability, and she's just such a great person, and she works so hard at it. And for her to be recognized by being on one of the all-conference teams is really a tribute to her hard work and what she did all year. After learning what the Northeast 10 Conference was like, she deserves full credit for putting the work in to get to the point where she was able to do so well this fall.
Last year, obviously, ended on a high note with the UCAC championship. Were you disappointed from a wins and losses perspective that you weren't able to replicate, that record that you had last year during the season that just completed?
This is how we feel about it, Mike. We set goals and standards for ourselves, and we didn't reach them this fall. So I know the girls are not pleased, with the way this season finished this year. I'm not pleased about it. That being said, we didn't achieve a lot of the goals that we set out to achieve this fall, but we're still in the top part of the conference. We still made postseason play. So I think that speaks volumes for where this program is going, in that it was a disappointment, but we were still able to make postseason play, and we still did something that a lot of other institutions would have liked to have done.
You will head to Spain on a spring trip next spring, and I'm sure you're certainly looking forward to that. It's still a ways away at this point, having just finished up this season, but how do you feel the build-up, the preparation, and the actual trip will help benefit next year's team?
You put it perfectly, Mike. You put it perfectly. It's not a one-shot deal. It's not a one-shot, quote-unquote team building experience. It's part of the entire process. It's part of the journey together. That it's not just a week of team building. That's when we consider team building to be really through the recruiting process, through the 4 years experience at Southern Connecticut, and then beyond. So this is just, the trip to Spain is one example of how the girls grow together through that experience. And you said it perfectly. It's not just that 1 week. It's the planning, it's the implementation of it, it's everything that goes into it. All working together to achieve something like that, I think, is a real big part of the experience here. And what we hope to do is, we hope the trip goes well in Spain, and we hope that we can continue, once every 4 years, and hopefully take the girls on an international trip every 4 years.
Last question for you here, as we look ahead very early to next year, the 2016 season. Just give us an early snapshot. What do you feel are the team's strengths heading into the season, and what are some areas that you're going to look to address over the course of the off season, both in terms of recruiting and just overall improvement with the group that's here? Yeah,
we've already started the process of planning and preparing for next year, and then really years beyond that as well. It's real simple to say that we conceded goals this year when we shouldn't have. In other words, we gave up too many goals, and we didn't score enough. So it's a real simple answer, but I think the bottom line is we all have to improve. The players have to improve, so the personnel has to improve, whether it's current players or whether it's through recruiting, whatever the case may be. There has to be an improvement on the field, and we're also going to do self-evaluation and make sure that the coaching staff improves in any way that we can as well. That being said, the coaching staff this year was awesome, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Coach Katie and Coach Chris and Coach Ukrainian for the job that they did. I can't say enough for how outstanding I think our coaching staff was this year. So I think there's a lot of good things ahead.
Well, Coach, again, I want to thank you for embracing this platform and being with us, making time out of your busy schedule every Monday throughout the course of the fall. Certainly hope we can continue it next year. I want to thank Zach Russo and Samantha Maceda for their work behind the camera each and every Monday. And as we wrap up, thank you again. And be sure to visit southernctowls.com for all the latest news and happening on the women's soccer program and all 19 intercollegiate programs. Coach, thanks again. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.